everybody, welcome to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about the tragedy, The Mandalorian. I think this week had a lot of stuff going for it, a lot of exciting stuff. As Star Wars fans, I know our palms were getting sweaty as we were watching it.
Talk about edge of your seat. Ugh.
Very much on the edge of our seat. When we talk about the tragedy, it was very much a tragedy. So we're going to dive into that a little bit for a non-spoiler review. And then if you want, subscribe to the channel. We'll also be bringing you a spoiler review. So we're going to dive right in. Joey, what did you think about The Mandalorian, the tragedy?
So again, I will keep everything non-spoiler for right now. So I would say just when I didn't think we'd be able to top or equal what we saw in Chapter 13, The Jedi, we got something just as good, if not better. And I'm kind of up in arms about which one I like better. But the good thing is, that's a good problem to have, right? So I think that this episode really ratcheted things up.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things for me that I love in storytelling, and especially in Star Wars, especially as of late, we don't always necessarily get surprises. We kind of have been operating in something that maybe doesn't take very many chances with the sequel trilogy. So for me, being able to watch this episode and think that I know what's going to happen, I got all of it wrong. I know we speculate. We speculated the last couple of weeks, and I didn't see a lot coming from this episode. And again, without getting into spoiler territory, I'm going to leave it at that. I think that what they did with some of the character work was amazing. It added some depth to some of the characters that maybe didn't have that depth either in this season or maybe in all of canon. And I think that this episode has a huge impact for the rest of the season. I can't wait to see what happens. And for me, one of the strongest pieces on this is we are finally taking a step back, it seems, from that just one episode every week where we arrive at a town, we do something, we get something as a reward like a video game. We are finally starting to, or at least it feels like we are taking the shift into, we have established the character, we have established the world that we are living in, and now we are going to start telling 2 and 3 part story arcs. Because I feel like even though the last couple of episodes have been pretty self-contained within its 30 to 46 minute runtime, they are all starting to have connective tissue, which I think that's what's going to keep really huge Star Wars fans like me involved, and even the casual viewer. That's the kind of thing that you have. Huge Star Wars. I'm a little bit of a fanboy, so that's the way I think this show has to continue to build on provide content for fans like me who are huge fans. And honestly, I think the more casual fan just getting into Star Wars, into Mandalorian, that's the kind of storytelling that it's going to take to keep viewers hooked.
So let me ask you. So I have 2 follow-up questions for you.
Yeah.
One, I've heard criticism about the episode that the writing was kind of clunky. Do you agree with that?
I honestly don't think so. For me, this was one of those, when I saw the runtime and I thought, okay, wow, this is much shorter than last week. They put a lot into it. One of the things Dave Filoni is really good at, and we saw it with the Clone Wars, I think he vastly improved his storytelling in Rebels personally. He's really good at putting a lot in a short time frame, right? So for me, this was the episode that I think we needed it to be. It was kind of like the filler piece without actually being filler.
Right.
So to me, I didn't mind the writing at all. It was action-packed, and I think that was pretty much the point of this episode.
And so the other question I have, do you think that, because you mentioned that you think The Mandalorian will bring in a lot of new fans, right?
Yeah.
I've also heard criticism that a lot of people aren't connecting with these episodes just because they're not familiar with previous stories. So for example, The Jedi.
Yeah.
We all were raving about that episode, but you have a lot of people that are watching The Mandalorian, Star Wars for the first time, and they're like, I don't get it. It's just, I mean, it's called the Jedi. There's a Jedi in it. I don't.
Yeah,
what's
like
the
she
big deal?
she looks cool. She's got
Right,
lightsabers, but who is this? I have no
They
connection.
don't necessarily understand why Star Wars fans love Ahsoka so much because this is their first time seeing it, right?
Yeah.
They don't really understand the significance of Thrawn,
Yeah.
that name drop. So do you really think that people are that new Star Wars fans are getting invested, or do you think that it may actually be confusing them, right? They're watching
Yeah.
this. I know we know some people that are just now getting into Star
Yeah.
Wars,
And that's always such a cool thing
and
to
they're
see.
watching and they're like, wait, but what? I don't get any of this.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance that some people may fall off of Star Wars by watching The Mandalorian?
So I think at least from the folks that I've talked to, we've got the, it runs the gamut of who can watch Mando, right? I mean, you've got casual fans, you've got even casual Star Wars fans, then you've got like uber nerds like me, right, who are watching it. The folks that I've talked to who aren't necessarily Star Wars fans, what I'm finding, and it could be, a different opinion depending on who you talk to, but the ones that I'm finding are tuning into Mando, if they're getting confused, it's actually more of like, wow, I might actually have to go back and watch Star Wars. So there's a few friends that I think, once they saw what happened in, chapter 13 and then what just happened in chapter 14, I have a feeling they are going to want to go back. And I've actually had people come and tell me, I'm going to go back and watch things. I have another friend who said, I really have to watch the Clone Wars now because I want to see what happens with Ahsoka, and with what happened in chapter 14 without delving into spoilers yet, there are some things that happen where you might want to know some more about some of these characters.
Yeah.
So I actually find that the Mandalorian is a good entryway into Star Wars without going, it's a little bit different than, let's say you watch the prequels where there is a lot going on. There's a lot of story. It's a long runtime. I think Mandalorian is a good entryway to say, episodes 1 through 6 happened. There's a lot there, so you can go back and catch up. But we're also telling a self-contained story that I think casual fans will understand without all of that. But their viewing experience is going to be so much more enhanced if they go back and watch at least episode 1 through 6. And then if they really want to get into it, Clone Wars and Rebels. Because, I have a feeling watching Clone Wars and Rebels without spoiling anything will enhance the way that you view Mandalorian.
100%. And I tend to agree with you about everything you said. I think this last episode, the tragedy was by far, I'm not gonna say by far. I thought the Jedi was a really really good episode. You all have heard me talk about it already, but the tragedy was the first time I felt like there were real stakes in The Mandalorian. It was the first time I truly felt like I did not know what was going to happen. I think now our characters are in some complex situations that are going to really require them to take things a step further, right?
And it makes me genuinely curious as to how these things are going to resolve themselves in the next 2 episodes.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, right? Like, as good as this episode was, I'm also kind of bummed now because we only have 2 more episodes to resolve everything. But I definitely think though, we're gonna see some shit. These next 2 episodes.
And the cool thing is, we thought we've already seen some shit.
I thought honest to God, I really thought that after the last episode, the Jedi, I thought there may be a little level off, right? There may be like some kind of cool down period before like the final.
Because that's what we've kind of gotten, right? You get something really exciting, something huge, and then guess what? We've got to transition into the next 2 or 3 episodes, so you might get some filler.
That's how Rebels and Clone Wars, well, more so Clone Wars, right? Like Clone Wars, something big would happen, and then you may have 5-6 episodes of just
something potentially unrelated. We might watch the droids go do their thing, which is great. I mean, we love droids here on this show, but it's not as impactful to the story as some of those other episodes that we really crave and need to watch.
Yeah. So, I think this episode had a lot of really cool appearances that I didn't know was going to happen. and the episode has definitely my expectations have shifted.
Yeah.
With the Mandalorian, and
It's finally getting real.
it's finally getting real.
Yeah.
It's at least I hope it's no longer monster of the week, creature of the week. Now everything is building, and I think this episode builds very nicely from the Jedi. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen next. So
Yeah, same
overall,
here.
though, if you had to sum up, how you felt about this episode, did you like it better than last week's episode? Did you like it more than last week's episode?
I'm going to really have to think about it, because I can tell you it's a good 1-2 combo. I feel like, it's kind of sitting on the fence here. I feel like the last couple of episodes, when I watched what was it? The episode with Bo-Katan, so episode 3 of this season, I thought, wow, best episode to date.
Yeah.
Then the 4th episode of season 2 gets here. Loved it. Great.
Yeah.
Then 5th, then 6th. So it's like, this is one of those shows that it is finally getting to the point where, at least for this season, it feels less up and down.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's momentum each step of the way building up towards the season finale, which I think is the sign of a great show with a great future. Yeah. And I had a couple of friends text me before I even had a chance to watch the episode and say, oh my God, you have to watch it. It feels like a season finale. And I'm like, wow, I have to watch this. And I got to tell you, there's enough that happened in there.
It did feel like a season finale.
So the cool thing is we actually get to see what happened. So if this felt like a season finale, I can't imagine what we're going to get at the end of chapter 16.
Yeah. And whenever Clone Wars or Rebels, whenever their seasons ended, it ended on this type of note.
Yes.
Right? And I remember you telling me someone told you that they felt really emotional after watching it.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I got emotional.
Yeah.
And I wasn't expecting it, but I was like, oh.
And I got emotional for several different reasons.
I did too.
That's the sign of good storytelling. It worked on just about every level.
I have to say this. The way they are able to display emotion in The Mandalorian without seeing his face is incredible.
That was phenomenal.
Something happens in the episode, and The Mandalorian, this is probably the most emotionally tolling situation that we've seen him in.
We're finally seeing him being tested.
Yeah.
We're finally seeing how is he going to handle potentially difficult situations.
And I felt his pain.
Yeah.
I don't know how, because I can't see his face, but I felt
when you see the episode, you'll know what we're talking about.
I felt every inch of anger in his body. I felt it, because I felt the same way. I felt the sadness, the emotion, the anger. I felt everything.
And that's exactly why I think this show is going to connect with non-Star Wars fans going forward, because that emotion, that emotional arc isn't just true for Mando or for Star Wars. That's just good universal storytelling. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah. And the episode was only 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think once you take away the credits and the recap and the header at the front, 30 minutes. They crammed a lot into a little bit of an episode.
It didn't feel that short, though.
It felt like it's exactly as long as it needed to be. And as much as I want these 46 to 47 minute episodes, this was a nice short episode that has a lot of implications. That's a sign of good storytelling to me.
Yeah. So, hey, there you go. There you have it. That's our non-spoiler review of The Tragedy. Go watch it. Go, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Leave this video, go watch The Tragedy, come back, join us for our spoiler review. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.